Hi everyone, welcome to Caravel Gaming, and this is Boomer, and I'm continuing my playthrough of Magic 2014. Last time the Sliver Hive got into a bit of trouble on Zendikar, but today we'll be taking on Shandalar. The day, in fact, before the Theros pre-releases, which should be at least interesting in their own way. It looks like a pretty interesting set, and you'll probably see a review of it coming up on Caravel Gaming after the pre-release. First of all, I've done a couple of changes to the Sliver Hive deck. Gone down to one striking sliver in the main deck. I have also added rampant growths to the main deck, kept them in. Changed the mana base a little bit. I'm actually a little bit unsure about survival of the fittest at the moment. I just think as a one-off, and you really need to see it early as a top deck in the late game, it's really not that good. It'd help if you had like a silver bullet style deck, but we really don't. I've also put in the steel form slivers that you can see here. Just as basically an extra 3-drop. One thing I did take out was Mirror Entity. I'm not too sure that's right. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make a slightly controversial decision. I'm going to drop the Survival of the Fittest, and I'm going to put one Mirror Entity back into the main deck. Just basically just as a overrun pretty much. I'm sticking to 25 land because the deck still has its sort of 6 5+ drops, so really for a deck like that you need to be looking at 25 land, especially when you've got fetch lands. So we're going to head back into the campaign, and we're going to head on to Shandalar now. Now, for those of you who know Magic from a very, very long time ago, Shandalar was the plane where the original Magic the Gathering game was set, and to be honest, I've been quite interested in doing an LP for that, but unfortunately the only way you can really get it to work under modern systems is with a fan hack, and I'm not really too sure how I feel about doing that, but we might do something like that in the future. But anyway, we're going to go on to Shandalar now and see what's what.
Ramaz described a strange race on the plain of Shandalar. He studied their hive-like habitat and said they had only recently discovered how to use magic. I have no idea what they might know about Ramaz, but a clue is a clue. See what you can dig up.
Well, hive-like habitat sounds very much like Slivers to me, so yeah, as you can see there, we're actually going to head into a mirror match at the end of this. However, first off, we've got a rather unique encounter here, and it's Jailbreak. If only planeswalking were an exact science. You arrive on Shandalar and find yourself in a dank, slick-walled dungeon with only a stone gargoyle for company. The jailer approaches and smiles at you with blackened teeth. So, yep, Sliver Hive deck, and let's start the encounter. As you can see here, we have only 9 turns to escape the jail. However, our opponent is only on 10 life, so we should be able to do this. Blur Sliver is going to be extremely important to us. Yeah, this is about perfect. So we're going to keep this hand, and we're going to make a Terramorphic Expanse, and I'm going to say go. I'm going to risk the misclicks. As you can see, the game wasn't lying. We have a Gargoyle Sentinel in play, and it's enchanted by Prison Term, which means it can't attack or block, and it's stopped, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, under my control in this case, we may attach Prison's terms to that creature, so he can make our creature, he can put our creatures in prison essentially. But if he does, he lets the Gargoyle Sentinel loose. Now, fortunately, I got the timer just about right there, so I'm going to activate the ability on Terramorphic Expanse. Only just about got there in time. You'll also notice I've changed my avatar and changed to Sliver Hive Lord, because that kind of seemed... really seemed like the way things should be going. So we're going to continue here. Okay, he lays his second land, and what's he going to put down here? A 2-1 defender with first strike. Okay, so I'm going to use the shock in my hand to kill that, because I'm going to need to be able to get by with my army of 2/2s, and I really don't want a 2x first striker there. Okay, let's make Blur Sliver. One of the great things about the Sliver tribe as a whole, and he has moved it, so that does give us the 3/3 flyer at least. One of the great things about the Sliver tribe as a whole is that even when they're under these sort of pacification effects, it does mean that they still do damage. Hive Stirrings is a pretty good draw there. I have a couple of choices of what to make here. I could just activate this guy and fly in for 3, but I'd rather get another guy on the board. He might move the prison term. Yeah, he does. Doesn't really matter, so I'm going to end up attacking for 2 here. So things aren't too bad at the moment. If I had an extra planes in play, what I could end up doing is actually pathing my guy with Defender. Face Fetters is really annoying because it gives him 4 life as well. He puts it on the Gargoyle. I am seriously considering Path to Exiling this just so I can get an extra land. Predatory Sliver here is actually really good, so yeah. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to swing for 5. Again, just going to hold up the Path to Exile because I very well may need that coming up, because I don't have any real way to deal with I don't really have any way at all to deal with enchantments. So let's see what he's got for us this turn. He has a Spectral Prison. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its control's untap step whenever it becomes the target of a spell spectre. That's actually one of the weaker effects, so I'm actually going to keep that one. And I am going to Path to Exile my own Gargoyle here. I'm going to get a Plains. Oh, 1 off. Hive Stirrings is going to do the most damage here, so I'm going to put that in. Not quite dead yet, but we've still got 3 turns to go after this to deal 1 damage, and I feel fairly confident we're going to be able to do that. Or to draw a shock to get rid of the Spectral Prison. So he's going to arrest probably my... yeah. That's not going to be enough unless he's got something else. Does he have another arrest? Doesn't look like it, so it looks like we're going to... looks like we're going to win this one. It's literally just a race against time, it's not... and your opponent doesn't really do anything... your opponent doesn't really do anything to stop you too much. So I think, yep, that's going to be it for this one. Okay, so let's move on to Weather the Storm. Again, another interesting theme deck, really. This area of Shandalar is really all about theme decks that we're up against. As you reach the grey ominous coastline, just as a strange wind whips up, the air smells of ozone and rot, and the clouds flash with a bluish glow. This is no ordinary thunderstorm. And it seems to be this deck really is one that stops you winning rather than wins. This is a terrible hand. I'm going to draw a new one. This is also pretty bad, so I'm going to mulligan down to 6. I'm going to keep this hand. Make the Terramorphic Expanse continue. As you can see, my opponent starts the game with an Aether Storm in play. It says creature spells can't be cast and any player may pay 4 life to destroy it. I'm just going to end my turn. At the moment I'm not looking to cast any creature spells, so I don't really see any point in nuking it. I'm going to activate the ability on Terramorphic Expanse, get myself a mountain. And then I'm going to Rampant Growth through Plains. Doesn't trigger Aether Storm obviously because it's not a creature spell. And that puts us in a decent position because we've now got all three of our colours of mana. See, we need to top deck another couple of lands before we do anything here, but never mind. Not great. But anyway, I want to cast a creature spell now, so I'm going to destroy the Aether Storm. And I'm going to make Blur Sliver. And let's attack. The deck we're up against here is really sort of Death of 1,000 Cuts. At least I think that's the deck we're up against here. Okay, so let's see what it does here. Time Ebb to put... That's actually doubly annoying because it means I'm not going to draw a land next turn either. Those sort of cards like Time Ebb really sort of give you... really are a bit rubbing because of their... you know, they are a bit of a rub-in because they can put you further back than you think. If this guy didn't have haste, it would have been like a double whammy at that point. Okay, so what's he got for us now? He has Curse Land, and what that does is at the beginning of the upkeep of Enchanted Land's controller, it deals 1 damage to that player. So... yeah, he's gonna just ping me with this Cursed Land every turn now. So it's up to us to kind of get our skates on here. I want to leave the mountain open in case I want to shock anything. Okay, so looking to move towards our attack phase now, and attack for 4. So we are pulling ahead on life, and if we top deck a land next turn, we're going to have Thorncaster Sliver in play, which is going to be quite useful. You see, having the 2-3, even though it's not the best sliver around, it's just you need a critical mass of creatures in a deck like this. Okay, makes another Aether Storm. So I'm not going to destroy it yet, there's no point really, unless I draw a land, which I don't do, so there's no point in paying 4 life right now. I'm going to attack before I do anything. Put my opponent to 8. I'm then going to Rampant Growth, but make sure that I don't use the red. I'm going to get a mountain. And I think then we can just simply pass the turn. See what he comes up with. Well, land. Is he going to do something about either of my guys? Oh, he's got another Curse Land. So he's doubled the clock on me, which is, again, a tiny bit irritating. And he's going to last gasp my... oh, not the Blur Sliver. That's actually a pretty big mistake on his behalf, and I think that means he's dead. Yes, it does. Shock him at end of turn. Put him down to 6. Destroy the Aether Storm. Cast Thorncaster Sliver. Remember, this is whenever this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player, and that's for every sliver. So now we just attack with both of them, and we're going to direct both of Thorncaster's abilities at Weather the Storm. So there you go, it goes down to 5, then 4, and the creatures themselves are going to kill him. Okay, so a rather interesting deck there. It's, you know, it is a Death of 1,000 Cuts style deck, but Aether Storm does make things a little bit irritating for the creature deck, but Sliver Synergy is more than enough to overcome that. Okay, we're moving on quite quickly today. We're moving on to Eloran Bramble. Emerging into daylight, you smell sea air, but between you and the shore that Chandra described lies a dense, thorny bramble. As you think about how to get through it, you fail to notice it moving towards you. So, yeah, brambles. Lots of them. Not a great hand, but I do have Fiery Justice. I'm going to keep this hand mainly because I can filter the first couple of turns with Terramorphic Expanse. So that pretty much means that, so hopefully that'll mean that I'm a little bit less likely to draw some land. It's not a huge effect for sure, but it should be enough. See, this, when you see your opponent making cards like this, you're generally not very scared. And at the end of his turn, I'm going to sacrifice this and get probably a Plains, yeah. Ugh, unfortunate. Okay, make the Terramorphic Expanse and say go. Again, I'm not tremendously bothered by this. Eventually my Sliver Hordes will just crash through it. Vine Lasher Kudzu is actually quite worrying. That could be a very big creature at the end. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And I missed my opportunity to use the Terramorphic Expanse because I was showing things off, but never mind. I did draw yet another land, so I'm certainly drawing lands, let's put it that way. I wasn't going to Fiery Justice this turn anyway, but that's what I kind of mean whenever I say misclick equity in this deck. Okay, he attacks me with the Vine Lasher. I'm actually going to do this now. There's no point not doing. And the computer is probably not going to react based on what land I get from my library. Okay, Vine Lasher deals 2 damage to me. And does he have anything else? Yes, he does. He has a 2/3 guy that when a land enters the battlefield under his control, it gains vigilance. Okay, I think that that's enough to actually Fiery Justice now. Another land. Okay. So, yep, I'm going to kill both his relevant guys. And he can gain 5 life. But yeah, for those of you counting, I've now got 10 land out of my deck, out of the 25, so I've almost drawn half the land in my deck. And he has another Wall of Vines. I don't think, again, that I'm going to be too bothered about that. And finally, something that isn't a land. Okay, so I'm going to make Hive Stirrings because I'm going to be able to attack with it next turn, hopefully. Okay. Alright, let's see what he's got for us this turn. That could be a bit of a worry. Spore Mound. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under his control, put a 1/1 green sapling on the field. With Thorncaster Sliver, though, that I've got in hand, that's not really a big deal. I'm just going to end up shooting everything, more than likely. Another land. Wonderful. So let's make Thorncaster Sliver, and then we're going to say go, because I'm going to be able to mop up the board pretty much always at this point. Okay, he attacks with his 3/3. I'm going to skip blocking. There's no point in blocking at this point. I have I have unremovable Hell Riders for the most part, so there's really no need. He makes another Spore Mound, and I guess he's going to then lay a land and make 2 1/1s. Yep, okay, so he's going to get 2 1/1s now. That's pretty much perfect, seeing Blur Sliver. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is attack with all my guys. And I'm going to shoot his 3/3. And I'm going to shoot one of his Saprolings as well. So the best he can do is trade with one of my 1/1s. But as you can see, it's really kind of a ponderous mono-green deck that we're up against here, so it's not really a huge deal. He's thinking about whether to block, and he does block with his 2 little walls there. And he takes 2 off my Slivers. But that's fine, because any Sliver that I draw now is going to be able to kill pretty much anything he puts on the field. So the only thing that I'm slightly worried about might be my life total if he decides to do anything that's really nasty. And he attacks with both his guys, so he obviously thinks that he's in a kind of race situation here. I think the idea of the deck from his side is to make the Spore Mound and then just gum up the ground with his walls and his 1/1s. Vine Lasher Kudzu is definitely something that could be irritating, but again I'm just going to shoot it, and he makes a 1/1 as well, so that I think I might just clear up all his 1/1s this turn. I don't think there's really much point in getting rid of that. Whoa! Okay, let's make Battle Sliver to make combat maths even worse for our opponent. I'm on 11, okay, I can attack with everything. And let's take care of my opponent's creatures now. And this won't matter, so I'm going to shoot him. And yeah, this is why Thorncaster Sliver is just, especially with Blur Sliver, Thorncaster Sliver is just amazing. You just get to clean your opponent up most of the time. Now he's got to think about blocking here because that's 19, I believe, coming in. So he's also going to lose both of his walls. So yeah, Battle Sliver was about as good of a top deck as I could have asked for there. And both his guys jump in the bin. So he's left with his lone 3/3 and he's got no cards in hand. Okay, so he makes a 1/1. I don't think he's even got... I think he should come in to attack here because I'm just going to kill his guy next turn anyway, so he might as well get in damage. Yep. Okay, another land. Taking us up to 12 now that we've drawn, but I don't think that it's going to be much of a problem. So we attack. Do I just kill him if I direct everything? That's annoying because I can't see his thing. Right, so 5, 9, 13, 19 total going in. So yeah, I can just kill his... I can kill all his creatures actually, there's no real point in directing it all at him. So, yep. Complete sweep up, I'm going to end up taking all his creatures out and killing him. So, yeah, this is sort of mid-game-ish, and this is definitely, in my mind, one of the weaker decks that we've come across, certainly against the Sliver deck. But I think things are going to ramp up in difficulty soon. Haven't played the expansion yet, and I'm sure things are going to get a lot more difficult in that. So there we go, we are 3-0 now, and we move on to the final match, which is actually a mirror match against the Sliver Hive. However, for those of you who are looking forward to it, you can look at the difference in creature size here. And oh, there isn't a difference. I thought there was for a minute then. But Esnelek's Sliver Hive deck is one that hasn't been unlocked, so it's the basic version of the Sliver Hive deck, and that shouldn't really be a threat. to the version of the deck that we're playing. Okay, we've got mass wipeout here, so I think that we are going to be just fine. I'm going to keep this hand even though he plays first. Sliver deck doesn't have any white 1-drops. So let's make Terramorphic Expanse and just hit continue. My draw has definitely put me in the role of control deck here. I think I have more Megantic Slivers than him, and I just have like a few more... I just have more of the creatures that are relevant, basically. I almost, again, this is why I sacrifice it main phase, because when I decide to go off on a tangent I can forget to stop the timer and sacrifice a land to get my guy. I'm going to lay the mountain in case I want to shock something. So let's see what he decides to do at this point. I've got Hive Stirrings for next turn. I also have Fiery Justice potentially. That's irritating because my shock doesn't work anymore. I don't want to Path to Exile it either because I give him access to his red mana if I do that. So what I am going to do is I am going to make Hive Stirrings and pass the turn. If he wants to use removal, go ahead. If he has Bone-sized Sliver, then I will use Fiery Justice to kill both of them. Okay, he attacks with his 2/3. I'm going to skip blocking. Again, synergy deck, it's just important that I keep as many guys on the board as possible. So just chump blocking and throwing them away is a bit of a waste. Yeah, I think he's got all 4 Cultivates and his Rampant Growths in the deck as well. So now I've got to think. Actually, I don't have an option here, do I? Because I was thinking about Path to Exiling his guy, but there's not really any point. Okay, now I've got a little bit of a choice as to what I want to do. I think going Hive Stirrings Battle Sliver, assuming I draw a card, is probably better, although Boneside Battle Sliver probably means the end of it. But he is leaving a red up. There's definitely Shock he can have in hand, which will put me back on turn show, but I'm not sure there's a lot I can do about that anyway. I'm going to cast Hive Stirrings and I'm going to leave up Shock. I mean, even though Shock won't actually do anything on... even though Shock won't actually do anything to his guys, I think that this gives me the... I think this gives me the most sort of impact that one of my Slivers can have if he decides to tap out. If he makes Megantic Sliver, obviously I'm just going to take 1,000,000 and then I'm going to path it. Alright, so he's got a Blur Sliver. He's got enough now for me to actually want to Fiery Justice his team. I'm going to take 4 here. Again, he's not got any... see if he adds anything else. Right, he does add Striking Sliver to the team. I think I'm just going to shock that at end of turn. I'm going to shock it and then I'm going to Fiery Justice the rest of his team. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 on the Steel Form Sliver, and then I'm only going to put 2 on the Blur Sliver, because when the Steel Form Sliver dies, its effect will go away as well. So the Blur Sliver will revert to a 2/2 and die. Okay, and then I get to attack with my 4 little dudes and just wipe out some of the life that I gave to the Sliver dude. Still got a path in hand. I'm feeling quite good here, even though I can't, even though I haven't made my 5th land yet, I still feel okay at this point. That can certainly change though. Okay, he's casting Cultivate, that's fine. It doesn't do anything as far as making sort of a big guy that I'm going to be worried about. And yeah, he makes a Sliver Construct, which is just a 2/2 dude. Nothing for me really to get worried about. Terramorphic Expanse is a pretty good draw. So I think I've got some options here. I could make Predatory Sliver and hold up Path to Exile. I could tap out and make Bone-Sized Sliver and then make Battle Sliver, and if Bone-Sized Sliver doesn't die, I pretty much win the game next turn. I think I prefer going Predatory Sliver, Bone-Sized Sliver though, because he's got 3 cards in hand, he is playing the same removal I am, so I'm going to try and play around a little bit of the removal he has. It also means that I get in for an awful lot more damage this turn, and I think that's going to be important. So if I just attack for 8 now with my guys, and he is actually going to trade off his Sliver construct, so I'm really happy with that, because again, the deck's all about having guys in play and then having guys with abilities to give them a little bit of synergy, so I'm really happy with the fact that he chooses to throw his guys away basically there. Okay, so what's his decision here? Okay, he has a Bone-Sized Sliver. Fortunately though, so do I, but okay, I'm going to activate this, get a Plains, confirm, and actually that, I'm going to Path to Exile his, his Bone-Sized Sliver, because it really is a dangerous card, and it also means that this Battle Sliver will probably be game over unless he has some kind of removal spell, because I'm coming in for lethal now. So, does he have something that'll stop me? Looks, yeah, he's got a Path to Exile, so he's going to cast that on the Battle Sliver. I'm going to get a Forest to bring me up to 6 mana. So I don't quite kill him, unfortunately, but it was really to be expected that he had some form of removal going on there, and I've still got majorly good board position, and I've got both Bone-Sized Sliver and Fiery Justice to fall back on at this point. He makes Thorncaster Sliver. That's not something that's going to cause a rift anywhere, and then he makes Sliver Construct, so I think I just kill him with Fiery Justice here. No, not quite. Well, now I just kill him. Yeah. Pretty good top deck there. Is 20 good? 20 sounds good to me. So, we make it through Shandalar pretty much entirely unscathed. And in the next video, we will be on to not Alara, sorry. Yes, in fact it is Alara. Next time we'll be moving on to the Shard, and more specifically onto Jund, which I know is everyone's favourite 3-colour combination. However, until then, that is the end of this particular plane, and that's the end of this video. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. This is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and I will see you next time.